Bloodwolf Arts Studio. Unleash the artist within.
Welcome to Bloodwolf Arts Studio, and I'm your host, Mr. Moonlight. So today I'm talking about the next poem in my series, my collection of poetry, The Seasons of Life, Volume 1, Autumn. This is poem number 20. It is titled The Mountain Well, and this one was written on July 26th, 2011, almost a month after The Summer's Cross was written. And this one was something more like a parable that I felt inspired to write. Like there's a lot of these, and I would say a good chunk of the poetry I write are based on like actual experiences, and some of them they seem so out of pocket. You're like, this can't be an actual experience, but there's a number of them that actually are, and I just brought it together with like a lot of dramatic flair, dramatic imagery flair. Anyways, so this one was a lot more like a parable, and it tells a story of an individual who has this sacred place and it gets destroyed. And it's a well. It's up on the mountain. It's his sacred place. It's his well. And the well gets destroyed, and um, he becomes overwhelmed with his sacred place being destroyed. And in his boil of emotion, he doesn't watch what he's doing, and he falls into the well. And while he's in the well, then he's just going over everything. Like he's dealing with, do I give up? Am I stuck here forever? And it really causes him to reflect on his life. And then he gets, at some point, then he gets saved by a mysterious person or being. It's kind of left up to whatever, like to your interpretation. I feel like at the time I put it up to um, someone simple, like a guardian angel or a person representing a guardian angel. And ultimately, the poem is all about not giving up. Like when what you cherish gets damaged or destroyed and you become overwhelmed, sometimes you act out in certain ways and then you find yourself in a really dark situation and it puts you to a test of, are you going to give up, or are you going to have faith that, you know, something is going to save you, or something is going to come out of the ether that you don't see coming, and someone's going to lend out a hand when you're struggling. And it's like there's going to be something somewhere that comes out and completely shocks you. And there's a lot of emphasis on the power of prayer and just really holding out hope and just believing that when things get tough, that it's um, how important it is to have faith and to hold on and to just um, there's an aspect of it where I feel like there's gratitude, where the character in the story is like remembering everything in his life that he's grateful for while he's in his dark time. But it really speaks to a lot of um, being in a dark time and never giving up, and that God's going to come send an angel somehow, some way. That God will send an angel, and you just have to have faith. And it ties into a lot of the stuff that I always believed growing up. Always believed growing up was that if I just have faith, that God's going to send an angel in some way, shape, or form, and it's going to pull me out of this darkness I've fallen into. And I feel like that was really a lot of stuff that I experienced a lot growing up, where I was always told to just have faith, that if I just believed, I just believed. Now, a lot of this stuff was a bunch of hogwash. Ended up being a bunch of hogwash, really, at the time, because there was all these systems in place I was putting my faith in that was just very misplaced. Um, but this poem was a lot about having faith in God, in divinity to come save me, to come, pull me out of this hole, that basically if I sit here and I have faith and I hold on and I just believe then God's going to send an angel to come save me from my darkness. Um, and that when that support comes in, that I got to act on it. Um, and then and that at the end I may never actually know who it was exactly, or I never may be able to say thank you, or because the person, um, I may never actually be able to see the angel that comes to give me a hand. I may not have that opportunity, but when it comes, that's if I got to jump on it, and when things are tough, just to have faith. And I remember right after I wrote this, I was living at my aunt's place at the time for, I think I was there for, if I remember right, I was there for school because they had fast internet over there. Like, we didn't have fast internet. We was too far away from the highway growing up on the farm. So they had the holy grail, the sacred internet, the fast internet, and I was in online school. So but my seemed like my sister was over there living there at the time, one of my sisters, and I remember after I wrote this, like I showed it to her and she was just like, wow, like this is amazing. Like this is cool. Like I just had to her, she just read through it and she was just inspired by it and in awe. And reflecting on it, I remember at the time, I didn't remember if she actually thought this was something that actually happened. Like maybe she thought this was an actual experience at the time, but I remember thinking that at the times, like, I wonder if she thinks this is something that actually happened to me. I'm like, no, this, I'm just thinking, I never said anything, but I remember thinking that, and I was just like, yeah, she might think that, she might not be, I don't know. But I'm like, yeah, thinking, yeah, this is just a story, a parable that just came into my space. And I'm like, and I just had a lot of fun writing. I just had fun writing a story. Um, so that's this one. It's titled The Mountain Well. So it'll be after this video, or it'll be after I'm done talking here. Stay tuned for that. The Mountain Well. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on Facebook, Blood Wolf Art Studio. Follow me on TikTok as Mr. Moonlight Rhyme. And I'll have a link to my books, plural, in the description. So thank you for tuning in and stopping by, and welcome to my side of the moon.
The Mountain Well by Aaron Brown. Up along the mountain path, there was an endless well, a well that I would daily visit and into never fell. Then one day there was a storm, the worst I'd ever saw. With thunder and lightning everywhere, I stood and looked with awe. I pondered for a moment, then determined off I went, knowing I would pass the well where my days were often spent. It was where I had been born, learned to walk and write. It was where I could think best. It brought me my delight. As I came up to my well, I noticed something new. The storm had broken down the well and split it right in two. I felt my heart sink down, and with it fell my strength. I ran up to the broken well. My heart was full of angst. Running up beside my well, I slipped upon a stone, falling down into the well. I then felt all alone. I could no longer see the light. It was wet and cold. The sides all slippery from the rain, covered up in mold. Feeling down and in despair, I began to cry. Feeling broken from the fall, I wished that I could die. I cried help for hours. It almost seemed like days. No help seemed to ever come, but I never changed my ways. Days went by inside the well with my constant cry. I almost quit a couple of times, but refused to sit and die. At the dawn of the third day, my throat was cracked and dry. I was thin and out of breath, and just about to die. Just when I was almost ready to resign into despair, I saw a bucket sailing down, falling through the air. As I seen the bucket land, I jumped up and down. Landing down into the bucket, I waited to leave the ground. As I began to leave the ground, I thought about my life, remembering all my friends and family, but especially my wife. I pondered what I'd have lost as I sailed through the air, if I had just given up and gave into despair. As the bucket neared the top, I seen a simple man, twisting round upon that crank, going as fast as he can. At that point, I felt great love, as the man gave all he was, saving me from this dark well, and all just because. As I stepped out of the well, I went to thank the man, but he was nowhere to be found. He'd vanished like wind in sand. Trying to find the gentle man, I looked all around. Instead, I found a scraggly note lying on the ground. As I studied the crinkled note, I marveled at what it said. After that, I never wondered how I was not dead. Prayer. Life has times of trials many, some full of despair, but the Lord will swiftly help at the mention of a prayer. Prayer is simply called a soul's most sincere desire, able to relieve you of your pain and vanish any ire. When you're feeling down and in despair, never, ever think to doubt the power of a prayer. Author unknown.